ste so Evrozum. I ovo izdanje na Evrozume vo Evropski parlament. Gostin vo Evrozume, gospodata Doris Pak, pratenik vo Evropski komitet, člen na Komitetot za odnosi na Evropski parlament so jugoistočna Evropa. Welcome, Ms. Pak. How are you?
Fine.
Busy.
Always busy.
How is being German these days in regards of Balkans? It seems that you are not very,
what does it mean,
especially
you?
Serbia and, Germans. Serbia and Croatia are not very happy with Germans last days.
But what does it mean? It was not the German government which spoke. It was one person, the president of the Bundestag, and the one who is leading the European Affairs Committee. So I think they have made up her mind, but it is not the German opinion. It is the opinion of two men with important positions. But I think they did not have really understood, especially concerning Croatia, because it was nothing new with Croatia. Croatia had to fulfill still some conditions before it will be member. And we have installed a monitoring system. After giving the date of the entrance, we gave a monitoring system place. So I think nothing to blame Croatia. We are waiting that they are fulfilling these 10 lacking conditions.
Yeah. But is there any chance that Croatia is not going to enter?
No. Why it should be? The Pacta sunt servanda.
Yeah.
But also on the other side, Croatia has still to do what is in this progress report said what is still lacking. But it is nothing new. Everybody who is involved in these affairs knows the procedure. Okay, I think some people in Germany did not know how it works, so they compared Croatia accession with the accession of Bulgaria and Romania, and it is not the case, because you should know Croatia has really done in the last 6 years everything what was possible, all the benchmarks fulfilled. It was not the case for Romania and Bulgaria.
You saw the statement of the Prime Minister Dačić about Germany, who is giving the revenge because Serbia was on the other side during the war.
That is really crazy, playing with these old questions, histories. I think it is very familiar in the region. I think if you look to Greece, you see it. If you look to Serbia, you see it. So we should forget, not forget the Second World War and all the atrocities, even done by, especially done by Germans. But I think we should start and look to the new time. And I think Serbia has not overcome his own atrocities done in the last 10 years. So I think they should keep really a little bit silent and looking what they did and tell their people what they did. We did it. We are still today speaking on our Germans, on our failures, on our not mistakes, on our atrocities, and all these things. We are speaking on this, and nobody in Germany would really seriously deny anything. That is not the case in Serbia for what has been done in the 90s. We are all aware of it. We were present, we know, but Dačić should look. He was a good friend of Milosevic. I remember him when he has his back in the hand. I met him in the offices. So I think he should be a little bit silent and should work that Serbia is on its European way. And that means also to understand what in the name of Serbia has been done. We are not looking all the time back. We should go forward, and Serbia should do what it has to do, become a good member.
We are going to talk later about Kosovo-Serbia issue, but it seems that German it could be likable in Macedonia, because there are some announcements that Germany is going to push this way the Macedonian path towards European Union. Is it true? Is there any?
We have the big problem. It is the fact that the Council has to be unanimous. Yeah. So, on all the steps towards the accession of a country, and Greece is not helpful in this way. They are still making problems because of the name. So they don't find the name, and they have the problems that they are in this very moment very much in their internal business, and I don't think that in this very moment they are free enough to tell the people which they have, pushed on this way being against. because of the name. Now to tell them, okay, now we give up. I think it is difficult. I hope very much that Greece, which is now relying on the solidarity of all of us, and I'm very sincere. I think we should be solidar with Greece and help them. But I think there should also be a little bit more European in finding now a solution for this name.
We heard many rumors about the possible engagement of Germany, having in mind that Germany is an important member of the European Union. Do you think that Madame Merkel found some time during her visit in Athens to speak about this issue?
I do not know it. I was not there and I didn't speak with her on this. I think it was possible that they have spoken on this problem because we know it is inherent now for a long time, and I hope that she tried to convince the leader, Samaras, who was at the beginning in the 90s leaving the government because of this question of the Macedonian name, if you remember well. So I think perhaps it was like this, but there is not, how to say, a chantage. So there's not, Miss Merkel would never say our solidarity is bound to this. That is, so we are not working like this. Perhaps sometimes I ask myself if not Greece had worked like this. So when we accepted Cyprus, for example, I did not understand why we did it before Cyprus had solved its problems, because inside now we see there's no improvement of the situation, and I'm sure that if we would have waited a little bit that Cyprus could solve the problem, then we would have solved it. And I remember very well that Christians this time said we are against the accession of the 9 others if the 10 Cyprus is not on the same in the same boat. It was told at this time, and this we should not do. We should keep each country on its own and look on it. And therefore, I feel very unhappy for Macedonia, because in between there's rising of nationalism. There is a rising of interethnic problems, which have been on the way to.
Do you think that the interethnic relations are a serious threat for Macedonia's existence as such?
I think that as you remember, Ohrid Treaty was ending these difficulties, and now with the time which is going on without making any step forward, the nationalism is growing, and the name Macedonia. I think Macedonia's name is more important for one part of the country more than for the other part. So at least the interethnic problems could really arise once again, and that is a guiltiness of those who are not leaving this country going its way. So I think it would be really in the interest of the neighboring country, Greece, to help Macedonia to become a good neighbor and to enter the Union, because in the Union they cannot behave in another way than as good neighbors.
We get the fourth recommendation of the European Commission to start the negotiation.
Yeah.
It seems that this year there is some enthusiasm going around, at least in Parliament, even in the European Commission. I don't know how the feelings are in the Council of the Ministers, but what's the basis of this enthusiasm this year?
Because we feel all really sorry that we cannot go forward with a country which had since 2005 candidate status. It's really a shame. It did everything what it is needed to start the negotiations. And we are hindering it. It is not very European, and this makes us very uncomfortable in ourselves. So I think this is a feeling that is now enough. Now we should go forward, and this is perhaps the basis for this little movement everywhere, at least in speaking.
You're coming from the biggest political group in the European Parliament, EPP, the Demo-Christian bloc of the political spectrum. You used to work very much in order to support the ruling party in Macedonia, to help them. Do you satisfy with their performance, of the democratic performance?
Listen, I'm always supporting, first of all, in the countries of the region where I'm engaged now for 23 years, party, if it is ruling, it doesn't matter to which party family this government belongs. If it is working, I support it. And I was criticizing it if it is needed, as far as I can, it as a parliamentarian, European parliamentarian. Sometimes I feel a little bit sorry in this moment, in the last months and years, that in Macedonia, but it is due to the fact that they cannot go forward, and this nationalism is growing, and that makes me unhappy, because we should forget this nationalism. We should keep a climate in Macedonia which is favorable for inter-ethnic living together.
When you are talking about nationalism, what do you have on your mind?
I think all these statues, all this naming of streets and so on, it is not necessary. It is putting oil in fire, and it's not helpful. So I always said it, and I think it is counterproductive, but unfortunately the situation is like this because the neighboring country is not behaving in another way. So this gives the incentives to start with nationalism. And a little bit, I think so, it is also because they cannot please the people with a step forward to the Union, because they are hindered, so they try to fall back in that patriotism and a little bit exaggerated nationalism.
Mm-hmm. What do you think was the way out of this vicious circle?
Yeah, the way out is to start the negotiations. The way out. Then they have to work on the different fields, and they are occupied, and they have not to find play fields where they can please some people with provocative and populistic speeches.
That's the best way. That's the proposal, the recommendation of the European Commission.
Yeah.
But do you think that it could be, it could get some decision of, we could get some decision of the Council of Ministers, European Council in December, in order to start the negotiation?
I hope very much that Greece can find a way out of this, because if you look what the court has judged on behalf of this question, when Macedonia asked the international court to make it, I think they can rely on this, and they can give green light to start the negotiations, and the question of the name can be at least be of minor importance.
It is going to happen. My prediction is that it is going to happen if some most important member states are willing to go through.
Yeah,
but is there any?
Yeah, I'm not a representative of a member state, but I know that a lot of member states are fed up of this question, and they want that things go forward, even in the interest of the peaceful situation in the region, and of not new inter-ethnic problems which will arise if the populism and nationalism is growing. So I think there are perhaps some movements, but I hope that this will find an interlocutor on the Greek side to find a way out of this impasse. I hope so.
Let's back to Kosovo problem. Do you think that Kosovo problem should be resolved in a foreseeable future?
Well, it will be resolved. It should be resolved, and it will be resolved. In which way?
It has to be somehow recognized by Serbia.
I think in this very moment, nobody is asking Serbia to recognize Kosovo. In this very moment, it is important that Serbia makes this dialogue really livable, which means everything what has been having been as a result of this dialogue should be implemented. What is not the case. Mm-hmm. So, and the dialogue should be continued, not to make a split of the northern part of Kosovo, but on the way that the people living in Kosovo, being Serbs or Albanians, have all facilities they need to cross the border and to get their private, the ownership of some spaces and so on and so on. So I think the normal life should be eased by this dialogue. And this is what we are asking Serbia.
Do you think that the Nikolic-Dacic duo is able to resolve the problem of Kosovo?
Was Tadic able to solve it? I think we should see perhaps Nikolic, known as coming from a very nationalistic party, in former times, perhaps in between a little bit less. I think if he wants really to go forward to the European Union, he is the one who can do a step which could not be done by somebody else. Perhaps he will do it. If he is wise, He does it.
He has you mentioned Tadic. Nikolic has a very clear position.
Yeah.
It seems that he has a very clear position. He wants a division of Kosovo.
Yeah.
That's the solution in
his mind.
In
But in this moment, we don't speak of the solution of Kosovo. We speak now only on the good neighborly relations which are needed for Serbia to go forward. As long as they don't do it, as long as they are also speaking in a way that it is really sometimes, as you just mentioned, Dacic, I think it is dangerous. I think Nikolic is in this. I believe that he can really be the one who can make a step forward in the dialogue, leaving out the final question. The final question. I don't think that in this dialogue this question should be tackled, because that is not a question. But I think that Belgrade should keep in mind that they should make the Serbs living in northern Kosovo understanding that they have to behave in another way than they behaved. They should not attack the KFOR or should not attack Eulex. They should live. And for me, I think the solution for me is a solution which has been put on paper by Mati Ahtisaari. It can very well function also for the north. It functions in the south. Why it cannot function in the north? Because the Serbs want to keep up 15% of their territories. They say it's not possible.
Madam Pak, Croatia is entering. As you said, as we mentioned in the very beginning of our conversation, do you think that the so-called Western Balkans train is finally on his way towards European Union?
Yeah, I think so. That in the middle of the crisis, the Council accepted the access of Croatia. It is really, it shows that they are more wise than somebody believes. And the Nobel Prize giving to us is also a prize for our good behavior vis-à-vis the enlargement. Because the enlargement is helping us to keep the peaceful situation.
It brings more responsibility for you, the Nobel Prize.
Sure. For sure.
I
think so. And therefore I was a little bit unhappy when I heard after the Nobel Prize, getting the Nobel Prize, we heard Mr. Lammert and Mr. Kriechbaum saying what they said. So I think it was not the right moment. Anyway, the content is as I said before, is not in this very moment discussion worse. I think Nobel Prize gives us also the obligation to go forward in a wise manner, but with how we did it with Croatia, not how we did it with Bulgaria and Romania. It means I'm not blaming these people. I blame us, or the Commission and the Council, that they did it. Gave a date and say, okay, then you will be member. Then they are sitting and waiting. So that's not the case with Croatia. And Serbia should go the difficult way Croatia has to go, and Montenegro as well, and all the others as well, Albania as well. So they have to fulfill the conditions. There are benchmarks to fulfill, and they are sometimes more difficult in some way for Serbia because of the fact that the Kosovo problem is still not solved.
Our way to Europe will be harder than this of Bulgaria and Romania.
Yeah, but the way is much harder because they have to fulfill all these difficult chapters. They have to make all these laws which we have here. They have to put them in their law system, and they have to not only to put them in the law system. They have to implement it. What is not yet done for some laws. Just mentioned in Croatia. It is a very hard work, and so to say, they have to fulfill all the criteria which are needed to be a normal and equal member in this union.
My last question, how is being German again, having in mind this Euro crisis? It's up to Germany to, everything is depending on Germany, the survival of Euro, obviously.
Yeah, okay, so, but it's also an interest.
Yes. But of course, but do you think that Euro will survive?
Oh, for sure. I'm sure. It will survive. I think it is it's binding us much more than some other things. And I think we had so much forfait, we had success with it. Germany is a country of export. So the euro was helping us a lot, and all the other countries as well. But we missed, and this is a problem which we couldn't solve in '92 or before. We missed to make a fiscal and economic policy and a budget policy more or less in common around this euro. And this now they have understood. And we have done a lot, especially in the parliament, to bring the council to do its work, to make more, how to say, governance in different fields, which is a common governance. And I think we are doing this in this very moment. It is hard to make the governments understanding, but I think we will reach it.
You're enthusiastic about the euro, but do you enthusiastic that some members of Eurozone, as Greece, Portugal, Spain, are going to
I think they will stay. No, we have to help them. It is in our interest. But on the other hand, they have also to make reforms. You cannot, if you see, just I take one thing. We in Germany, we have now the pension age is 67. And you know how it was in Greece. So it's one example. They have to have an administration which can collect the taxes. These simple things which have not been existent in the country, in Greece, for example. Nobody knew it. So it was obvious when we just dismantled the situation there. And then I think they have really to do a lot on this field. But they are on its way. But unfortunately, it is always the population, the normal population, which is suffering. But at the end, there are more normal populations than others, and so the money should come from there. And this is a problem which we are facing there and in Portugal and in Spain. They have to make reforms, and that is sometimes very difficult.
Do you think that the two-speed Europe is a solution?
No. No, no. They are in the eurozone. No, we have a two-speed
emotions
Europe.
in some member states, especially from the southern part of
But
Europe.
we have a two-speed Europe. We have in the eurozone. And now we have the problems in the eurozone. And in the eurozone, we cannot make two-speed, and we cannot. Yeah. No, that's not possible. But we have people who are not in Schengen. We have people who are not in the eurozone. So we have a two-speed.
When I'm talking about the two-speed, I'm talking about the first and second class of members.
No, that's not no, we don't have. We have two-speed. We have people who are not in the eurozone. We have people who are not in Schengen, but they are not less important than those who are in. We have in the treaties the possibility to stay out, to make an option out, but not for everything. So, and I think now it's enough for Britain. I think it is enough. We did too much to give them a space to opt out. I think they should now be a little bit cautious, and we should go forward with those who want to go forward. And to keep the euro and to keep really the caucus of European Union really existent and flourishing, we need new authorities. We need more, as I said, fiscal and economic and budget common policies. That is what we need. And those who don't want to work with us, especially Great Britain, okay, they should find a way out.
Madam Pak, thank you very much. I hope your enthusiasm is going to become a reality.
Thank you very much.
Гледахте уште едно издание на Еврозум, Европскиот парламент. Гостин беше пратеничката Дорис. Пак ви благодарам за вниманието. Се гледаме на наредната недела во истиот термин.